I feel like this is the time of year where it's go, go, go. So many projects coming out. You got to be excited that this new album is coming. So tell me, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's one of those things where you spend all this time behind the scenes working on it. And then all of a sudden, I mean, I looked at my calendar last night and was like, oh my God, it's next week. Like, I can't believe it's finally coming out. Obviously, we put out some singles, but yeah, it's just wild that it's something too that this was an independently funded project. And so it was a lot of the time just me and my co-producer Ethan and Jeremy, who engineered the record, like us three in a room working on it. So it felt like such an intimate thing that happened over a couple years. And so for it now to be finally landing and people being able to hear it, it's pretty wild.
This attachment theory album, it's such a fascinating concept for a record, you know? Like, you have psychology, you have relationships, and music is just in a really cinematic way, which I love. What was the moment where you realized that this isn't just a collection of songs, but it is an aura, it's a concept, it's all the things?
Well, a lot of the time my concepts for music come from, just what I happen to be writing about, because all my songs come from a personal place. So I noticed that I was writing a lot of songs about this subject. And then when I wrote the title track, Attachment Theory, that's kind of when it started coming together for me. Like, maybe this is the album title, maybe this is the actual concept for the record. So, and the podcast thing, I think, came out of a place of, I love to read about attachment theory. I love studying this and psychology and people's personalities. And so it's something I talk about with my friends a lot, but, didn't really share on my social media or publicly. And I thought, this is, if there's something I want to do a podcast about right now, it's this. And so let's just put it all together. So that's kind of, it happened organically.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. And tell me more about what it was like kind of putting these songs together, because you said it was a couple of years in the making.
Yeah. For me, I always keep a running list of song ideas on my phone, whether it's like a lyric snippet or recording a little melody into my voice memos. Then I will write some by myself, but on this record, I actually co-wrote most of the songs, or all of the songs, except one that was written by someone else. I write a lot with a lot of the same co-writers that I love to work with, like Adam Wright. I wrote with a couple new people on this project that I absolutely love and will be continuing to work with. And so it was just kind of a collaborative effort in a lot of ways, which is interesting because it's such an intimate, I guess, subject matter. But I felt like I really found some people who got what I was trying to do and were able to help that vision come to life.
Oh, absolutely. And, reading more up on this and learning more about this project, and I know you've said it too, that this record was born out of heartbreak and navigating modern dating, which I feel like a lot of people, including myself, can unfortunately relate to. What did you learn about yourself while writing these songs and all that good stuff?
It's so funny because attachment theory, I feel like, is trending on socials and stuff. And that's, I first read about attachment theory probably when I was like 20, 21, because I was dating someone at the time who was super anxiously attached and trying to navigate that. And so I've known about it since then, but then had a more recent experience with someone on the total opposite end of the spectrum who is very avoidant. And I think that's a very common thing that I noticed popping up on social media. This kind of came at a time when, like you just said, so many people are experiencing this.
Yeah.
Especially, I don't know how old you are, but women around my age and younger. I'm right there with everybody. Like, this is something I'm experiencing, and it's something I'm writing about. And I feel like it's a perfect moment for it to come along because, like you said, so many people are looking for, I don't want to say answers, but looking for a common experience and working through these things together. So that's what I hope the record does, as well as the podcast, on a more concrete level.
And I love like what music can do, because you have such these powerful themes and these powerful lyrics, but then you to put it with a sound and it gives it this whole new life. And I feel like with your sound, you have like this country rock, but then it gets a little darker sometimes, kind of like that garage country vibe, right? So can you tell me more about this project sonically, and what kind of risks did you take with it that maybe you didn't 5 years ago?
So I would say definitely on this record compared to the others, one thing I can say is because it's more of a concept, and it is born out of heartbreak. Like you said, it can be a little darker. It can have maybe less outright slasher rockers, it's more of a thing you can sit down and listen to or put on, and it has a kind of consistent vibe, and as a record, while the first two records I made were a reflection of me as an artist, I feel like this record is a reflection of an experience, if that makes sense. So I feel like it's more of an experience, more of a sonic experience. And also we pushed a little further into the alternative lane. You know, garage country, as you said, is kind of what I call my music. It's a combination of my voice, which is very country, sometimes my songwriting, which can be a little country, but sonically is almost alternative rock. And I feel like we pushed even further into that lane on this record.
Yeah, that's crazy. How do you feel that you kind of have this little unique garage country sound that you're paving the way for in Nashville? It's gonna be fun.
I've been doing it for a while now, and actually it's so funny. I mean, it's crazy. I'm starting to feel old because I'm like, wow, I put out my first record in like 2016. So 10 years. But I mean, I hope that is reflected in the songs and that I lived life during that time. And, you know, I'm not just pumping out music as a product, but like a genuine expression that I hope people connect with. And so, yeah, it feels cool. It's having a sound like that. It can be a little harder from the business side of things to know where to put it. And I know that's been a struggle as far as, you know, with labels and things like that. And I feel like on this record, I found a really good team who really understands what I'm doing. And so that's really exciting because sometimes on the back end of things, as far as the business, it can be a bit of a struggle of like telling people where something fits when there's not really a map for it, if that makes sense.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Why was it so important to make the podcast and have it kind of go hand in hand with the project?
Like I said, I think music can be healing in a way on its own, but it's not as concrete. You know, you're not talking about these psychology and all that behind the songs and behind these experiences. So the podcast is a way to address those things specifically. You know, with Villain of the Week, the first song that came out from this record, that was the one that was about sort of the dating app experience, which I know a lot of people are having now. And I talk on the podcast episode about, you know, why dating apps are so addictive to some people, what kind of people are attracted to dating apps, all of that. So you can actually dig into the psychology behind it and hopefully come out with some actionable advice that a song may feel healing on a subconscious level, but we also need to figure out how we navigate this literally on a practical level. So that's why I did the podcast.
Oh, amazing. Now, if there was any celebrity, or it could even be a fictional character that you could put on the therapy couch for an attachment style analysis, who would it be? And what do you think their attachment style would be?
This is really funny because, wow. Well, the first person that popped into my mind is her name Cersei Lannister from Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
I don't know why it literally just popped into my brain. Maybe because I watched the new Game of Thrones series recently, which I loved, The Night of the Seven Kingdoms or whatever.
Okay.
But anyway, she is wild. Like as a character, I'm like, what are your motivations? I mean, it's hard because with a fictional show, I mean, she's like straight up evil. So also obsessed with her family. And so I don't know about attachment style. Maybe I would say avoidant, because she is kind of, a lot of the time avoidance can come off as kind of emotionless, and I feel like that's her. But she does have like a deep motivation for her family. And so maybe avoidant, but she's wild. She needs to be on every therapy couch.
Absolutely. And is there maybe like a message that you want people to kind of take away from this project?
I think there's a message today. I see a lot of this repeated on social media of like, heal yourself before you get into a relationship. And while I think there's part of that is true, I think there's also a truth to the fact that when we get into a relationship, there are things that come up that really don't come up when you're not in a relationship. So I tried to balance that with this project, that there's a lot of internal work we need to do as people to heal, but we also heal in relationships, and we are social creatures. No matter whether you're single or in a relationship, you need to be doing this work to make all of us happier and make the world a better place.
Yeah, for sure. And are there maybe any like behind the scenes secrets from making the project that we wouldn't know?
Okay, so Ethan Ballinger and I produced this record together. I've been working with him since my second record. He didn't produce that record, but we produced the Jackson Sellers record together. We produced some EPs together. And I would just say, for me, finding a creative partner that gets what I'm doing, and we almost like have a shorthand, and we are so on the same page about working together. That's been a big thing for me.